The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by HDA ModelWorks, suppliers of scale lighting products, detail accessory parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Hello again, my fellow modelers, and welcome. Boyd here with you. Well, here we are, finally kicking off the build of the Mobius Colonial Viper model kit. We voted on this kit a couple of weeks ago versus the Romulan Bird of Prey, and this kit won out with the fan vote, so here we are working on it. I've been doing quite a bit of work to it. I got kind of slowed down because I had a little bit of a flu bug going on for about a week and a half or so, kind of a nasty one. I was coughing a lot, and I was able to work, but I couldn't really do much of a very good video because I was coughing like crazy. So I'm feeling a lot better now, and we're back on track here. So I finally got a chance to put out a video for you guys and get you caught up on what we're doing here. I've also been doing some other work, and we'll give you a little update on that. Some of the work I was talking about, the little Excelsior kit that I was building up, I got that one finished and shipped off to my client, and we'll show you a look at that here at the end of the video. But here's a look at the Viper. I've been mainly working on this on the fuselage, getting it all ready for doing the lighting that we talked about. I'm using the Paragraphics photo etch set for the interior cockpit details and the engine detail and all that stuff. I actually had one of the sets here, and way back when on some other project that I did, I think it might have been the flying sub that I built or something, I used some of the photo etch parts out of that. I think it was the engine grills, so I had to order another set for this, and it's on its way. I think I should have it on Saturday. But I did have all the parts for the cockpit, and so I've been working on that. You can see I've actually been working on the figure, the pilot figure here, getting him fitted in here. I did a little bit of lighting on him as well. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up, and I'll talk about what I did. I've got all 0805 SMDs installed in the behind each one of these individual panels that you see inside the cockpit here. Hopefully this is focusing for you guys. I've got one here back on the corner that kind of flashes, and the rest of them are just steady on. I used all warm white except for the flashing one. I tend to find that the warm white ones make the color on the printed screens or decals look a little bit more natural and not so washed out. But you can see my favorite one there is in the very front, the targeting screen there, and we've got the Cylon Raider, kind of the iconic scene from the TV show being targeted there. And we got some more panels over here to the side on both sides of the pilot. They get a little bit harder to see once you put the pilot in there, but you can see them just enough. And I actually test fitted the canopy on this thing too, and you can still see all the detail in there pretty good. But everything's just wired together, coming out on one wiring harness. You can see that right here. And I did use a couple of resistors to kind of change the brightness level on a few of them, just to get them more equaled out. I thought the smaller ones should look a little bit more dim than the bigger ones, and that's kind of what I did. That's all your own individual preference. I really can't go into a lot of detail explaining that. You just kind of have to get a feel for it yourself and figure out what looks good to your own eye. You can, in most cases they'll light up all and look pretty good with you. If you don't add any resistors. These little SMDs that I get from Jerry at HDA ModelWorks, they come pre-wired with resistors already on them, and they're set up to run anywhere from 9 to 12 volts DC, and they'll look good. So these resistors are a little bit higher than that, so they actually create more resistance and drop the voltage down just a little bit, and so I can make them a little bit dimmer, and I just kind of mix and match those once in a while to get kind of everything fine-tuned the way I like it. Now up here at the front of the pilot, you can see in his helmet I've actually got a little bit of lighting going on in there to kind of simulate that lighting that they had. Now I wish I would have had some side firing fiber optics here. If I would have had some of that, I could have probably gotten the lighting to look a lot better as far as all the way around the edge of the helmet like it's supposed to be. But I'm going to settle for this. I just kind of drilled. What I did there is I went into the pilot's head is separate from the body in the kit, and I basically went inside that head and just drilled it out and got it drilled out as much as I could. And then I mounted a 5mm LED inside of his head, and then brought the wiring down inside the body and then out his back. It goes through the seat and then out the back here. And so I had the lighting inside the head. It would have been really nice if that head was molded in clear, and if you were really enterprising, you could take that part and maybe cast it yourself in clear, and it would probably light up a lot better, but it actually lit up pretty decent. And then I drilled some holes around the edge, you know, in between the edges of the helmet and his head inside there. And I'm still working on it a little bit. I'm still going to clean it up a little bit more, and I've still got to do all the paint detail on the helmet and everything, but I've got it worked out pretty good. But as I mentioned, with drilling these two holes here, you know, one in each corner, I think if I would have had some side-firing fiber optic, the kind that glows out the sides instead of out the tip, I could have installed that on there and I would have got a nice little glow all the way around there. But that's something that I'll try on something else maybe a little bit later on. I'm going to get some of that stuff. I've always wanted to get some of it and try it because I've had a few ideas for, you know, things to use it for, and I just need to go ahead and order some of that in here. But I think it looks pretty good, and once the canopy's on there and everything, you know, just noticing that there's a little bit of light in his helmet, it's going to look pretty good. I've got to light block it a little bit more and clean it up a little bit. It's not completely done yet, but I've got the figure itself all painted up. And so yeah, basically what I did there is I went in and I put an 0805 SMD behind each one of the screens, and then I just kind of played around with how close I got it so it wasn't, you know, too bright and it wasn't washing it out and all that. And once I got it all locked down, I kind of glued everything in place with CA glue, and then went back with some of the you know, the canopy glue, and just glued everything back from the back side, all the screens and everything, so that they're all nice and locked in place and no light leaks or anything like that. I did have to cut off the pilot's feet, which you really can't tell here. The pilot's feet actually hang down below the cockpit tub, and the bottom of the cockpit tub is wide open. There's no floor in it, and there's no detail down there anyway. There's no pedals or anything, so I would have had to light block all that, and you know, I would have had to do a lot more work and try to figure out a different way to do that, you know, because I have light coming in from the sides down here, and it would have leaked up into the cockpit. So I just went ahead and cut off his feet and then put a flat piece of styrene across the opening on the bottom of the floor, and that eliminated all the light leaks and everything. Like I said, you can't even see that his feet have been cut off. Once the cockpit's, you know, especially when the canopy's on there and everything, it's going to look pretty good. You won't be able to notice it at all. And I'm not giving up, like I said, I'm not giving up any detail or anything down there, so I think it's going to look pretty good. But if you guys have any questions about how I wired this or set this up, just drop a comment on the video and I'll be happy to answer it for you. So what we're going to be doing next is I've got some photo etch. I had to order another set of the photo etch for this, for the engine details and everything, because I robbed some of the parts out of the original set. I think I used them on my flying sub a while ago. And so I've got to do that. That'll take a week or so to get here, maybe less. I think maybe by next Wednesday is what it said. I ordered them the other day, and we'll get those in, and I'll continue working on this and give you another update on it very soon. I promise the next one won't be so far in between. And then I'm going to be setting this up with my one of my soundboards, which is going to produce both sound and light. I'm going to have the effect of the laser guns here that fire. I actually have already drilled those out and set them up for fiber optics where they're going to be able to, you know, emit some light, and I'll tie that in with the sound effect. And then over at the rear, I'll have the engine detail where they're just going to be kind of static lit. And then when we hit the turbo, when we hit the button on the soundboard, there'll be the sound of the turbo kicking in, and the engines will get extra bright, kind of like they did on the TV show. And I'll show you how I set all that up here as we move along on this build. So not sure if it'll be done on the next video, but definitely by the time this is finished. So hope you enjoyed seeing the update. And again, if you have any questions, just drop a line. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up by taking you and showing you how the Excelsior model turned out that we built as the USS Argo. I'll be right back with that. Okay, everybody, well, here's a look at the USS Argo. This is a custom build that I did for my client Ensley, who's actually going to be using this for a board game that he plays as his player piece, so that should be pretty cool. This is just a static model. I built this off of the 1/1000 scale USS Excelsior kit by AMT Round 2, and I used their aftermarket Aztec decal set as well, and I really like how this model turns out. I built my own Excelsior a couple years ago using this same setup. You can see I've got the custom decals here of USS Argo and NCC 2001 that Ensley requested on this. Those were done by Jerry at HD Model Works, and they always turn out really nice. Everything that Jerry does for me there is really top quality work. You can see it looks exactly like the original stuff, and got that detail right down to the sides here on the pennants where it says Federation Starship USS Argo there, and then these smaller registration hull numbers here at the back on the warp nacelles. But you can see I did all the paint detail on this, so the different color blue and the gunmetal gray accents and everything. And again, those cartograph decals from round 2 just look beautiful on the model. They look like they've been painted on. I really hope they get around to putting those cartograph decals in all their model kits. I think they're just really top quality. But you can see we did all the paint work here. Now I painted this model again with the Hobbycraft paints. The Delta Ceram Coat white went down as the primary hull color, and then their pearlescent white went over top of that. And you can see it gives a really nice shimmering effect underneath of the Aztecs. Kind of gives that kind of, you know, iridescent look, and I really like how that turned out. Give you a look at the bottom here of the saucer. You got all the Aztecing done on that. I painted a little bit of airbrush work there on the deflector to make that kind of give an illusion of being lit, since this is just a static model. But here's all the detail on the bottom of the hull. Again, using those Aztec decals from round 2, which really pops the model a whole lot more than just the basic decals that it comes with. You can see we've got the forward cargo bay area detailed there, the rear torpedo launcher here, and all that good stuff. And the model can swivel really nice on this base. Just did a nice paint job on the base here and put some of the decal work down on that. But we just thought we'd give you a look at this. It's a really nice kit. I think this is a nice size for a model kit. I really don't like to build starships much smaller than this. It's a little over a foot long, but hopefully round 2 will come up with more kits like this around this size, or, you know, of course more of the 350 scale stuff. But really beautiful model. So can't wait to get it sent out to Ensley and have him send me some pictures of this in action on his board game. So that'll be pretty cool. So that's a look at that, everybody. We'll be back with a little bit more here in just a second. Okay, everybody, well, it's October, so you know what that means. We've got Halloween coming up. I thought I'd share with you guys what I'm going to work on this year for my annual Halloween build. As you guys know that have followed the channel here for a few years, I like to do this every year. We're actually having a Halloween group build going on over at the Model Shop community on the internet forum. And I've got quite a few nice builds going on over there. And also on the Facebook page for the Model Shop group there. And this is my kit for this year. This is the Great White Shark by Pegasus Models. I just got this kit in from Jerry at HD Model Works, and he's got this kit on sale, by the way, for a really good price. So if you're interested in it, you can go over there and scoop one up. Great little kit. I've seen several versions of this built up, and it looks really phenomenal. They did a great job on the shark itself, and of course you get the bonus of the diver and the cage and all that. You can build the shark one of 2 versions, with the mouth open or just kind of swimming like you see him here on the box art. I'm of course going to do the mouth open version, so he looks a lot more ferocious. You know, you think of Halloween, you know, the usual ghouls and ghosts and things like that. But I want to do something a little bit different this year, and I'm definitely scared of great white sharks. I've been scared of them ever since I was a kid and I saw the movie Jaws. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a Jaws theme on this. Now you can see that the diver here, I'll show you the little bit better detail of him on the side panel here. He comes with this camera. I'm going to try to modify this guy a little bit by getting rid of the camera and just making one of the shark strike sticks that we saw Hooper carrying inside the cage on the movie Jaws. Hopefully I can pull that off. Hopefully it can be modified enough and I can make it look halfway decent. And I think I'm going to go ahead and bend the cage up a little bit here, like the shark is actually making his way inside the cage. Really scary part of the original Jaws film. In the book, he actually does get Hooper, but in the movie, of course, we know he survives. But hopefully I can get all that worked out. And the biggest thing is to do a really nice paint job on the shark. I'm going to kind of beat him up a little bit because Bruce, as the shark was known from the movie Jaws, had quite a bit of battle damage on him. You know, he had a lot of scars on his front, around his snout, and around his jaws and everything like that. And he was a lot more kind of gory looking. So I hopefully can make him look, you know, pretty close. Bruce had a very unique look. You know, he didn't look exactly like a real great white shark, but I think this will come pretty close, especially with his mouth open. The main thing you're going to see is that huge set of teeth sticking out there. So anyway, I hope you guys will check it out. I'll show you this here as it comes along. I've got my work cut out for me. I've got to try to get this done by the end of October, but it's a pretty basic kit. The shark itself doesn't have that many parts and everything, so it shouldn't be too bad. I think most of the work will be working on the cage and getting that, getting that all modified and getting the bars bent and everything to get the shark kind of pushing his way inside there. But we'll see how it goes, and I'll update you guys on that very soon. So thanks for checking us out again. I appreciate all the subscribers, all the commenters, and we'll be back here in just a couple days with more work on the Colonial Viper. I should have my photo etch in by then, and hopefully by then I'll have some work done on the great white shark here, and we'll show you how that's coming along. Got to get this one done in time. I've never failed yet, so hopefully we can pull it off again this year. We'll catch you on the next video, everybody. Until then, take care and happy modeling, everyone. Dun it, dun it, dun it.